24 hours a day, 7 days a week. As long as WRPI is broadcasting, we provide that broadcast on our internet stream. Once again, that is WRPI.org. Officials for tonight's contest: Kevin Graber and Anthony Kenny wearing the armbands. Linesmen are Dan Taggart and Ryan Knapp. Engineers wearing their home whites with RPI on the front. Red shoulders, red and black trim.
I like these uniforms.
They're very nice. They've got the RPI seal on the arms as well. Yale in their road blues. That is Yale blue as an official color. With white trim, Yale and the player's number across the front. Engineers will be skating from right to left across your radio dial here in the first period. Hitchcock will face off against Whiffen to get this one underway, and the Bulldogs come away with the opening face-off. They send it down into the RPI end. Lyndon Marshall behind his net to control it. And RPI will look to break out. They have it out to center. And now coming into the zone is Ted Hart. The Cumberland, Maine native is rubbed off the puck. Bulldogs swinging it back behind the net for Hart. Hart will just kind of try to dump pass for Snively. Now Hart behind the net, back for Snively again. Snively looks up, and he takes a hit from Todd Burgess over in the corner. I'm sorry, that's Jared Wilson in the corner. Puck comes out of the zone. That is off the Bulldogs need to touch up. Prapavessis was there without a stick, so he wasn't unable to play it, but fortunately the Engineers able to move out and get themselves a line change. Just 1 minute into this contest. Still no score, no shots either. Bulldogs send it down into the RPI end. Will Riley behind his own net. That's it up for Tierney. Tierney tries to clear. It's picked off and kept in the zone. Marshall's just going to try to shove that one off to the side. It goes out to center, and it is Yale curling around to pick it up. O'Neill, the Latham native, comes into the zone with it. Looks to take a shot. Now takes a shot. Saved by Marshall. Goes behind the net. Yale still with it now. O'Neill along the near boards. Dumps to Matthews. Matthews takes a quick shot. It was a rising shot up over the net. I'm not sure that Marshall saw it, but it doesn't really matter anyway as the Engineers come away with it. Here is Jesper Orval along the near boards. Lofts it into the zone. They're going to wave off icing as Tierney's the first one to it. Tierney's up to Burgess, who sends it behind the Yale net, and the Bulldogs will take over. Intercepted by Burgess, though. He tries to swing it back into the zone, but it goes back out to center. TJ Samick now shoots it in from the blue line. That's gloved down by Kaspersky, and we'll get a whistle.
And one of the things Coach Smith talked about was breaking out together. And you notice as TJ Samick dumped that puck right on net, there were 3 Engineers zooming right in on Kaspersky.
So far in the first couple of minutes of this one, the minor possession edge going to Yale, but the face-off now in the Yale zone. Evan Smith will take this face-off against Jacob Hayhurst. And it is the Bulldogs coming away with it. Mitchell Smith along the far boards. His RPI forechecks. Yale now able to get it out. Moving forward now into the slot, and a shot goes behind the net. Coming around, back around with the rebound is Yale. And RPI is able to get that one out of danger momentarily. Evan Smith now back for a shot at the point is blocked. Still taken by the Bulldogs, but it's put back out to center by Evan Smith, and the Bulldogs have to regroup. In fact, they're just going to go ahead and change. So an unforced error helps the Engineers out of a jam right there, as RPI very close on that one to giving up the game's first goal. Neil Orval is going to send that one down. Kaspersky behind his own net. He had an Engineer crashing in Reisinger, but Yale will eventually break out of their end. Tyler Welsh sends it down into the RPI side. Marshall's just going to swing that one around the boards. That one goes all the way down the ice, and icing is waved off as Billy Jerry was down there close with Matt Foley. Now a big crunching hit behind the Yale net. That was Jaron Burke taking his man down. He gets some applause from the Engineer faithful. But Yale still able to end up with a puck. They'll send it out to center. RPI takes over in the neutral zone. Here comes Billy Jerry along the near boards. Collects the puck in the near corner. Looks up. It's dealing with Matt Foley. Foley is trying to take it to Jerry and kind of sends him into Ted Hart, who's able to pick it up for Yale. Yale clearing it out of the zone. Here they come, 2-on-3. Speeding into the zone, shot saved by Marshall. He covers up for the whistle.
Yeah, Marshall doing a really nice job after a little bit of a defensive breakdown by the Engineers. He came right back and knew exactly where the puck was behind the net, stuck his skate out to make the save on that last possession.
This Hitchcock line for Yale certainly has some speed, and they showed it off right there as an opportunity by, I think that was Ted Hart, ends up being saved by Marshall. Yale with the puck in the RPI end. Turnaround shot, and that never got on net, and that'll end up out to center as Liljegren gives chase. Yale with it now, heading back down the other end. Tie up near the far face-off circle, and that just ends up squirting all the way down the ice, and that will be called icing on the Engineers. One
thing I noticed about the Engineers is that they're trying to be very physical, and just taking a look up and down the Yale lineup, their biggest player is Luke Stevens at 6'4", 212 pounds. Meanwhile, the Engineers have two guys on two lines that are each 6'3" and over 200 pounds. So Engineers trying to assert their physical presence.
Face-off in the RPI end. Yale has won all three face-offs so far this evening, and call it a fourth one as they pick up the win in the face-off circle. Puck goes behind the RPI net. Engineers will be the ones to collect it, and they send it out to center. Again, heading all the way down ice is Walsh. There won't be any icing on this one. Yale trying to move quickly down ice. That was sent in from the red line. And now RPI will look to break out themselves. Nice headman pass. Here comes Polino. He gets it over for Orval. He can't get a shot off, though. And Polino along the near boards now. Back up to the point. Shot by Grant. That's gloved down by Kaspersky.
And that was one of the lines that I picked out in the pregame. I saw that they had two really quick guys on the wings, Orval and Polino, and though they didn't connect on the pass, they came right into the offensive zone with a lot of speed and generated a high danger chance.
Polino especially was excellent in working the puck into the zone and found, or at least tried to find Jesper Orval with his pass, but they just weren't able to connect. So probably one of the better opportunities so far for RPI, who wins the first face-off, their first face-off of the game. Now a turnaround shot by Emil Orval gets blocked. Now a shot by Samek for the point goes just wide, picked up by Burgess. Now for Grant near the point. Grant will send it behind the net. That is Emil Orval. He looks up, spins around, trying to get around his man. He has Evan Smith bothering him there behind the net. Smith is the one that will come away with it. Smith along the far boards, gets it up for Paleko, but RPI intercepts along their blue line. Now Hayhurst has it stripped, but there's no one beyond him, so he's able to pick it up and send it into the zone. Lindstrand for Yale has it up for Mitchell Smith, and penalty's going to be coming up here on RPI as Smith's pass up ahead.
Samek, it looks like they're going to get.
Yeah, Smith's pass up ahead was, I think that was meant for Evan Smith, but he was taken down by TJ Samek along the RPI blue line. And so an interference call on the RPI sophomore will put the Engineers on the penalty kill. As mentioned at the start of this this whole shebang, 80% was the RPI penalty kill, and the power play for Yale has been beyond anemic at 2 for 44, 4.5%. Just a quick correction, it is Jared Wilson getting the gate for RPI interference, the call. Yale wins the faceoff. They have the puck behind the RPI net. That is Snively. Looks over and gets it to Hitchcock. Hitchcock on the near boards, sends it far boards for Foley. Matt Foley along the far boards, looking, moves it behind. It was intercepted by the Engineers. They're trying to swing it out, and it's going to just get kept in there at the blue line. I think that was Anthony Walsh. Here is Ted Hart in the near corner. Tommy Grant doing a good job of chasing that one down. And now the battle for it in the far corner. Snively behind the net, gets it back up for Hitchcock. Hitchcock fakes it. And now Snively along the near boards. Snively looks up, fakes a shot. Now he makes a pass that gets blocked. It's in a bunch of skates in the slot. And that's going to score it out. Yale still controlling it with a minute left on the power play. Snively. And that's just sent to the far boards by Grant. The Engineers scrambling a bit, but this Yale power play unit has been out there the entire time as well. Not really a whole lot of fluidity here. Puck squirts into the slot, and this is going to get rifled down ice by the Engineers. Excellent penalty kill there with 36 seconds remaining. Both teams will switch it up. A long shift for both on the man advantage for Yale. Certainly not much doing for the Bulldogs despite controlling the zone for nearly 3/4 of the power play.
Lots of active sticks by the Engineer defenseman.
Yale tries to bring it back into the zone, and really just a miscommunication ends up with it flying out and then being touched. Just not a good move up ice by the Bulldogs, and you start to see why it is that they're struggling on the power play.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to set up behind the net almost. They've sent 2 guys behind the net most of the time, and the Engineer defensemen have just thwarted their opportunities.
16 seconds left on the penalty to Jared Wilson as the faceoff comes just outside of the RPI end. Brady Whiffen will take it for RPI against Evan Smith for Yale. Whiffen's going to be thrown from the circle, as it were. Troy York instead for the Engineers. I guess it's just the dot from there. The faceoff is won by the Bulldogs. They'll look for one more opportunity on the power play. Matthews sends it in. Marshall can't stop it. Held in by Walsh. And now just as the penalty to Wilson's about to expire, we're going to get a tripping call coming up, and this one is also going to be on RPI.
It's Riley.
So Will Riley goes off for tripping deep in his own end on the penalty kill.
You can see it happened in the far corner behind the net, just on a puck battle.
So Yale with a 2-man advantage for 3 seconds, and then they will be continuing on the power play after that, although they certainly need to tighten up their opportunities as the majority of the Wilson penalty has been pretty rough. O'Neill with it along the blue line. The Engineers back to 4 with a shot by Paleko goes wide, and that ends up all the way out of the zone. Now the Engineers with an opportunity shorthanded. Here comes RPI. That shot is saved by Kaspersky. That was Patrick Polino moving in quickly to pounce on that puck after it zipped out of the zone. Definitely a great opportunity for RPI to score their first shorty of the year, but that one ended up going by the wayside. O'Neill brings it into the zone for Yale as it's taken off this stick, and Grant is the one to it in the corner. Both teams doing battle. Yale comes away with it. Moving quickly to the net, but no shot. Now Grant back with it, and he'll just backhand it out of the zone. That one goes all the way down the ice. 1:14 remaining on the penalty to Will Riley.
Patrick Polino, as Coach said, was one of the best guys in practice this week, and he just came right off the bench after Jared Wilson got out of the box for that opportunity.
Yale looking to move back in on the attack. Foley brings it over the blue line. Leaves it for Hitchcock. That's a shot into the slot, but Hart can't pick it up. And now it's Foley along the far boards. Foley looking. Behind for Hart. Back to Foley. Now a big slapper from the point. That's blocked by Samick, and he'll just get it out. Walsh with that one. Never got on net as Samick got his big body in front of it and just sent it all the way down ice.
Yeah, one thing I noticed is that the Bulldogs don't seem to be crashing the net. It's almost out of fear of the big RPI defenseman.
30 seconds left in the penalty to Riley as Yale brings it back into the zone. Snively along the boards. Prapavesis trying to come away with it in the near corner. Ends up back on the stick of Foley, but is brought back out to center, and now an opportunity for Whiffen. Whiffen coming in, takes a shot, looking for that upper corner, and he goes just wide. And now the puck's going to go all the way back down ice, but RPI is still in control, so they will just let this penalty expire. Yale now 2 for 46 on the season as their power play woes continue. He's back to 5 inside. Yale with it still. Now a shot from the far face-off circle is saved by Marshall. That was Brett Jewell taking his first shot of the night.
And a good job by Marshall to cover up as the Bulldogs are starting to get a little bit of a late push after their power play expired.
Yale dominating this game in the face-off circle as they've won 7 out of 8 so far. They also have the 4-2 shot lead, but are 0 for 2 on the power play, and we are still scoreless here with 2:07 remaining in the first period.
Yeah.
Face off in the RPI end. We'll call that one an RPI win as the Engineers come away with it and get it back out to center. Sent back in by Adam Larkin around the far boards. Billy Jerry behind the net giving chase to the loose puck. Burke tries to move it forward. It's picked up by Jewell. Jewell brings it behind the RPI net. He gets taken down by Wilson and comes away with the puck. Wilson sends it out. It's picked up by Larkin right at the red line. He just slaps that one back down into the RPI end.
Fancy stick handling there by Marshall.
And that puck is going to end up going all the way down ice for icing, but Jaron Burke was looking to get an edge on Billy Sweezy to maybe get that one waved off and goes cascading into the net.
Yeah, good effort there by Jaron Burke. That's what you like to see from your fourth line, a group of grinders and giving it their all on every shift.
For a guy who's 6'3" and 215, and Joe, you and I were talking about this before the game, he has some deceptive speed for his size. I wouldn't call him fast for a hockey player overall, but for his size, he certainly has some wheels, and that's something that we saw right there was his ability to use that speed to his advantage. Yale comes away with the face-off in the RPI end. Sweezy from the point just kind of takes a weak shot that goes over to the side of the net. Now a shot goes just wide of the net. Marshall was in good position to stop that one, but didn't need to. Now the Bulldogs again will take another shot. That's blocked by a Yale player in front of the net. Now Sweezy picks it up, trying to take a shot from the top of the slot. He can't get any decent stick on it either. So Yale continuing to hold the puck in the RPI end, but really not getting good opportunities. Now Sweezy takes a shot. That's saved by Marshall. Another shot on the follow-up. Where's the puck? Looks like Marshall has it. Sweezy kind of ended up picking up his own rebound, but still, I wouldn't say that the Bulldogs, for all of that activity, really got a really decent scoring opportunity.
It's been a really close checking game. I'd say that's been the sort of the tone of this game. It's been really tight checking, a lot of defense from both sides, and the Bulldogs had the advantage in the shots, but they haven't been quality shots. I feel like the Engineers on the breakaway may have had better quality shots because the Engineers are playing very, very good in the defensive zone. They're marking their men, they're staying on their men, they're not getting lost, and it's allowed Marshall to sort of see the whole ice.
Absolutely, and a couple of opportunities for RPI on the counterattack. Both of these opportunities really on the penalty kill from Polino and then from Whiffen. Those two opportunities for RPI were probably more dangerous than anything that we've seen from Yale thus far. So even though there's an 8-2 difference in favor of the Bulldogs in shots, you kind of feel like the game is far more even than that. I think the game has been a lot more even than the shot totals and the face-off totals would dictate. Yale, those things have certainly given Yale the advantages in the possession, but they don't really seem to have done much with it.
Yeah, and hockey, of all the four major sports, it's definitely the one that's more about the eye test than the statistics.
So after the ice crew departs, we'll have the face-off coming up in the RPI end. Jacob Hayhurst against Evan Smith, the far face-off circle. And it is the Engineers coming away with the victory on that one. They'll move the puck forward. Hayhurst chases into the attacking zone. It's poked out by Yale. Larkin tried to move it forward, but it ends up along the near boards for Paleko, who gains the zone. Now Emil Orval has it going forward. Engineers just onside, and a shot from Burgess along the far boards is easily saved by Kaspersky, and he hangs on for the whistle.
But again, two Engineers very close behind, ready to crash on that net if a rebound were to pop out from Kaspersky.
8:19 remaining in the first period. No score between RPI and Yale. Yale already 0 for 2 on the power play this evening. Face-off down in the Yale end. It was a little difficult to see who won it. RPI is going to come away with it, and they maintain the zone. It's taken off the stick of Liljegren and out to center. And Snively's going to move it. Nice pass forward. And the shot by Ted Hart just kind of goes off to the side. Some good back-checking there by the Engineers. Here's Snively. He tries a pass to the point, but it's picked off by the Engineers. Now coming forward with it is Troy York. York moves around, takes a shot. That goes through the crease. Now a big shot by Manley goes nowhere. That goes over in the corner. And it's behind the net for Whiffen. Whiffen back up to the point. Will Riley keeps it in, takes a shot, and that's a save by Kaspersky, who had to be on his toes to grab that one out of the air with his mitt.
And two Engineers right near the net, getting both of their sticks on it, Whiffen and York, both on that play, were able to get their sticks on that and sort of cause deflections to create confusion around the net.
For your RPI, you have to like what you're seeing on offense. They might not have had a lot of possession of the puck, but they're getting decent opportunities with it when they are down in the attacking zone. Tierney's getting thrown out of the face-off circle for this one. So it's Patrick Polino now facing off. Well, he was going to face off against Tyler Welsh. Now he's been thrown out. So Will Dorsey will step in. Sophomore out of Sudbury, Mass. Face-off won by RPI. There's a shot by Grant. That's blocked. Tierney takes a shot from the middle of the slot. I think that was saved into the corner. RPI still buzzing. Tierney sends it behind the net. Chasing down is Jesper Orval. He's rubbed off by Anthony Walsh in the corner. Polino there to help out Orval. And now it'll squirt over to the near boards. Samet keeps it in. Yale comes away with it. Welsh with an opportunity, 2-on-2 if he hurries, but he loses the handle on it. And it is Grant who ends up recovering. Samek up ice. Looking for Jesper Orval. It's picked up by Yale in their zone. Jewell comes away with it. Up for Will Dorsey, who's just offside, bringing it in. And Yale's really having a rough time in transition tonight.
Yeah, they're not able to get anything going in transition, and a lot of that has to contribute to the RPI defensemen staying back and staying on their assignment, sort of causing confusion as to who the open man is on the Bulldog side.
6:48 left in the first period. Still no score here from the Houston Fieldhouse between RPI and Yale. Face-off coming up in the neutral zone, just outside of the RPI end. Engineers win that face-off back to Wilson. Now Prapavesis looking for Burgess. Burgess goes forward without the puck. Engineers will have to regroup. Here's Emil Orval near his bench. Kind of taps it into the zone. Burgess giving chase. He has Larkin with him. Burgess hits Larkin into the boards. Now on the far boards comes the Bulldog. Burgess almost able to intercept that one before it leaves the zone, but Yale still moving forward with it. But again, moving forward without control. Behind the RPI net now is Wilson. Wilson will lift that one into the air, and that one goes out of play.
So a stoppage here with 6:17 left in the first period. The score is still scoreless here in the first period. With the Bulldogs lead in the shots advantage, 8 to the Engineers 4. And as we mentioned before, it still feels like the Engineers have carried more pressure just because their quality of shots have been better.
It is kind of surreal. I mean, there's a definite possession edge for Yale, but as far as quality opportunities, RPI with the lion's share of those. Face-off from the RPI end, won by the Engineers. They're rapidly catching up in that area, but the puck quickly ends up back out of play. So we'll see another opportunity for a face-off from the RPI end.
And this big, tough fourth line coming back on the ice of Jerry, Burke, and Ressinger. One thing to note, Coach Smith definitely trusts them even in the defensive zone.
And certainly more of a grind line for RPI if you really look at it. Jaron Burke and Max Reisinger especially have a little bit of size that they can use on this Yale Bulldogs team. Yale comes away with the puck in the RPI end. Battle for it along the far boards. Burke is battling with Evan Smith. And Yale comes away with it. They kind of send it towards net. Marshall just kind of stick that one to the side. Now Burke looking to move with it in the neutral zone. Trying to get around Foley. Burke with it. Now over to Jerry. Billy Jerry on the far boards. He's for Reisinger, takes a shot. And now Burke with it behind the net. Foley is able to come away with it. And he bounces that one out to center. And goes all the way down ice. Icing's waved off as there was kind of a battle to get to the dot. Max Reisinger trying to get that one over for Charlie Manley, who will bring it across the red line and just send that one down. As the Engineers get their top line of Liljegren, Whiffen, and York back out onto the ice. I'm going to bounce in on Lyndon Marshall, who just gloves that one up for the whistle. With 5:09 left in the first period, no score between RPI and Yale.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to note is that Ressinger on that last sequence where the fourth line was in the offensive zone was literally standing right inside the blue circle. And Dante Paleka was trying to get him out, but Ressinger just too strong for the Bulldog winger.
It's one of those ways that your grind line, when you have some big guys, they can really kind of just generate opportunities simply from being difficult to move. As Yale wins a face-off in the RPI end, Larkin sends it behind the net. Still no one to pick it up for Yale as the Engineers recover. Polino up for Tierney, who shovels at the center. Now Adam Larkin back across for Brian Matthews. Here's Larkin, the senior out of Clarkston, Michigan, sending it up and trying to send it into the zone, but ends up going off the stick and out of play.
Yeah, I believe it was Polino's stick holding on the blue line.
I think that was, you're going to say that was touched in the neutral zone, so the faceoff is going to be at center ice. Whiffen line against the Hitchcock line. Arguably, I'd say the top two scoring lines for both sides. Yale wins the faceoff at center ice. They send it down ice. Snively gets hit by Grant. And then it's sent behind by Troy York. Liljiger bringing it out of his end. Is Whiffen with him. And he sends it down into the zone. It is where the Bulldogs will pick it up, but it's kept in at the point by Prapavesis. Now that squirts out, and they're going to call, I guess they're going to call offsides. We'll say it was offsides.
Yeah.
Puck was at the blue line. They blew the whistle.
Yeah.
Face-offs were outside the zone. So the Engineers call for offsides with 4:20 left in the first period. No score between RPI and Yale. Shots now 9-5 in favor of the Bulldogs.
I guess Prapavesis tried to bring it back into the offensive zone after it scored it out.
Orval tries to send that one in. It's just picked up there by Brian Matthews. He'll send it down ice. Now it's Orval along the near boards. And he'll just send it to Wilson, who goes behind his own net as the Engineers look to set up a breakout play with 4 minutes left in the first period. Here comes Hayhurst using his speed to gain the red line. Has it taken off a stick by Hitchcock. Wilson there to pick it up. Now Wilson across for Orval. Now to Burgess in the slot. And Kaspersky makes a save. Wasn't sure if he had it as he looked behind him for a split second, but a great play by RPI as Burgess picks up the puck in the slot and takes a great shot on goal. And Kaspersky had to be large on that one to make the stop.
Phenomenal puck movement there by the captain, Jared Wilson, bringing it up through the neutral zone and into the offensive zone as a defenseman, showing a lot of confidence, and Burgess getting the shot off right from the inside.
Tierney's Orval Polino line now out there. That's Jesper Orval. Puck one back to Walsh, and that's going to go all the way down ice, and that's going to be a quick icing call against the Bulldogs.
Yeah, so the speed line out for the Engineers. Polino's already had an opportunity that's been created from his speed on the power play.
Really, one of the best positives, if you're an RPI fan, in this first period is that all four lines have really been able to create something during this first period. They haven't scored a goal yet, but they've really made the most of the offensive opportunities they've had. They've pretty much done everything but score as the Engineers win the faceoff in the Yale end. Manley along the near boards sends it through the slot to nobody in the corner. But they're able to keep it in. Here's Polino. He gets it back to Tierney. It's now up for Orval. Orval takes a shot. Saved by Kaspersky. Penalty coming up on Yale. They touch for the whistle. All of a sudden, Jesper Orval all by himself in the slot. Kaspersky had to be strong once again to make that save.
Yeah,
but a roughing call coming up against the Bulldogs will give the Engineers their first man advantage of the game.
Orval just was holding his stick to his knees, just probably yelling at himself, trying to get that puck in the net. Probably just telling himself that should have been in, that should have been in.
For all intents and purposes, it was a breakaway that was created while the puck was in the zone for a few seconds ahead of time. Just a wonderful pass, I think, for Polino to set that one up. You're watching on RPI TV. They're showing a replay of
so Orval goes
happened.
down and then just pops up in front of the net. Stayed on the play. Didn't let the guy taking him out.
So roughing is the call against Mitchell Smith, a sophomore from Stouffville, Ontario. Puts RPI on the power play this evening for the first time. Yale struggling on the power play. RPI not a whole lot better. They're ranked just 57th in the nation out of 60 teams. But at 10.6% coming into this game, certainly a whole lot better than the Bulldogs are. Yale on the penalty kill, significantly better, 83%. That's good enough for 22nd in the country coming into this game. So maybe an opportunity for RPI to convert their offensive prowess into a goal here on the man advantage as the Engineers win the faceoff. Grant takes a shot. That's saved, but comes out in front, and it's quickly snatched up by, I think that was Foley, and sent all the way down ice to clear that one out. But RPI quickly with a good opportunity off the stick of Tommy Grant, and Kaspersky left that one wanting on the rebound.
Good eye there by Burgess to find Tommy Grant on the far side.
Here comes Ted Hart, short-handed. He's got plenty of Engineer bodies in front of him, so he'll just go backwards with it as Yale kills a little bit more time. Foley loses the handle on it, and that gives RPI a free pass in their own in the attacking zone. And there, York is unable to corral the pass, and it's Yale sending it back down ice, so they're able to get past really just a bad turnover by Foley. You don't want to turn the puck over in the attacking zone or in the defensive zone like that when you're playing a penalty.
1:09 left on the power play.
RPI looking to move up ice. Here's Prapavesis, gains his zone, has it dropped off of his stick, and that just rolls in on Kaspersky, who covers for the whistle.
Yeah, so the Engineers will get another offensive zone faceoff here on the power play. Exactly 1 minute left on that power play.
And 2:21 remaining in the first period. Shots are evened up a little bit now 9-8 in favor of the Bulldogs. The faceoff will be to the left of Corbin Kaspersky. Puck goes behind the Yale net. I guess we'll call that a Yale victory, but Engineers still able to come away with it. And it's Emil Orval in the Zamboni corner. He's popular and known here at the Fieldhouse. Got two Engineers and two Bulldogs doing battle. It's RPI coming away with it. Liljegren up to the point for Riley. Now Liljegren along the near boards, brings it up to the point. Prapavesis leaves for Riley. Now Prapavesis along the near boards. Back to Riley at the point. That is over for Hayhurst, who loses the handle of it, but Orval gets it back. Now Riley along the point. 20 seconds remaining, and a shot. I think that was blocked in front, ends up on the near boards. And it's just going to get sent back out to center. Hayhurst collects as Yale changes. RPI with time for one more rush with 5 seconds left on the power play. Here comes Emil Orval on the near boards. He gets taken off the puck into the corner. RPI's first power play of this game is over. Both teams are 0 for on the power play. Engineers 0 for 1, Yale 0 for 2. Yale collects it, looking for Ted Hart. Was sent down ice. That doesn't look like it's going to have enough for icing, and it gets waved off. Here is Hitchcock up for Snively, who takes a shot, and that's got blocked in front and into the corner. Now Snively in the near corner. Turns, trying to get around Tierney's. Up for Hitchcock. Hitchcock spins around. This line could do some damage. Hitchcock goes down. Here's Snively now on the far boards. Snively doing a lot of moving on this opportunity. There's Hitchcock trying to leave it for Hart. Now Hart has it in the near corner. He takes a shot that deflects off of a skate and into the near corner. Picking the puck up as Hitchcock. He sends it up there to no one in particular. Snively has his pass into the slot intercepted by Prapavesis, and that'll get lifted out. Goes all the way down the ice for icing, which is kind of dangerous if you're RPI. That line was out there for a good amount of time, and they'll have to stay out there for the ensuing faceoff with 17.3 seconds remaining in the first period.
Yeah, but a silver lining, you can see the two Orval brothers lined up together. They'll get to play 17 seconds together. Maybe.
Definitely the best scoring opportunities for the game for Yale right there, as some good puck movement by Ryan Hitchcock and Joe Snively led to some decent scoring opportunities. Yale wins the faceoff. Quick shot saved by Marshall. That ends up on the stick of Emil Orval, who's going to lift that one back out to over the blue line, and it ends up down ice for icing. So once again, RPI is going to be looking to really at this point just close out the period. 7.8 seconds remaining, and that line's still out there for RPI. They haven't been able to get these guys off the ice. Face off now to the left of Lyndon Marshall. in the near face-off circle. And it is RPI is going to come away with it. They're finally going to get it out. And Jesper Orval is just going to kind of dig for that blue line. Not a whole lot of time left for him, and he runs out of time before he can take the shot. But the Engineers succeed anyway, as that was pretty much what you want with 2 back-to-back icings at the end of the period. And so we go into the first intermission with no score.
Yeah, and one thing I'd like to say before we close out is the Engineers have really asserted their physical presence over this smaller Bulldog team, as Evan Tyrannese, when he was covering Joe Snively, just kind of tossed him out of the out of his own offensive zone after he gave up the puck, and it kind of drew an O from the crowd.
So we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back with our first intermission momentarily. Your score after 1 period of play is RPI nothing and Yale nothing. You're listening to live coverage of Engineers Hockey on 91.5 FM, WRPI Troy.
Tonight's contestant will have 60 seconds to grab as much money as they can floating around inside the Sefcu money machine in the best part. They get to keep whatever they hold, and Sefcu will match that amount and donate it to charity. Welcome tonight's contestant. For a round of applause for Henry Bailey. Jolene Morris with the Blue Reports team at Howard Manor Real Estate Services. Give them a call at 518-331-1579. The top sales team in Rensselaer County. So let Jolene's expertise move you. I'd like to remind you, Ryan Zwick is a proud supporter of RPI Athletics. Head to downtown Troy after the game. Check out the pub kitchen at Ryan Zwick. RPI Hockey would like to thank GE, Moe's, Sefkin, CDPHP, Boucher and Clark Financial Group, Hard 32 by Prescott, Yankee Trails, Redford Pizza, Tri-City Rentals, Dunkin' Donuts, Toyota, Green and Peters Inc., CDTA, Ben and Jerry's, Warren W. Fame, Boucher and Clark Benefits, Wicked Smart, Gatherers Granola, Flyhoppers, Howard Manor Realty, RPI Chapel Cultural Center, and Tri-City Valley Cats, all proud sponsors of RPI Hockey.
RPI Men's Hockey to wish you a safe holiday and a happy new year. Let's go Red.
I'm Ian Smith, coach of the RPI Hockey. I'm Chris Jones. Like RPI, our firm has been in Troy since the 1800s. And like RPI, we have a reputation for being the very best at what we do. All from Eastern Jones Aftermarket is among the most experienced engineering firms in the state of New York. We are your hometown lawyers. We are here for you if you are ready. Those who want tonight, go Red.
Will Speargard, proud to support RPI and the local community. If you can get your game ticket to Will Speargard and receive food and drink specials. See you after the game at 2 B Street, downtown Detroit.
Houston Fieldhouse here on the campus of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York, as we get set to bring you the second period of action between the RPI Engineers and the Yale Bulldogs. Your score after one period of play is RPI 0 and Yale 0. Before we get started with the second period, I'd like to thank the Rensselaer Union. They provide the funding for WRPI and all the club-related activity of the Institute, including WRPI's coverage of RPI hockey, football, and baseball. Just a reminder, WRPI is on the World Wide Web. Point your browser to WRPI.org. And you can pick up WRPI's broadcast 24/7 as long as WRPI is broadcasting. We provide that broadcast on our internet feed. Once again, that is WRPI.org. Women's hockey, RPI taking on Brown at the moment out in Providence, Rhode Island. The Engineers had a 1-0 lead for much of this game. A power play goal by Jamie Grigsby, her 5th of the year, from Shayna Tomlinson and Whitney Wren at 9:03 of the first period. At RPI up 1-0, but the Brown Bears just getting themselves back into it just a few minutes ago. A shorthanded goal by Sam Donovan, her 4th of the year, as at 1-1. There's about 2 minutes left to go in that one, and we'll try and get you an update, if not during the second period, maybe during the second intermission. "20 minutes are on the clock. We are ready to go. Both of these sides with 5 out on the ice to begin the second period. And the puck ends up down in the RPI end to begin this middle frame. Polino tries to poke it away. DeSantis whiffs on it, and the Engineers going back the other way. Here's Jesper Orval, takes a shot that goes off Foley and into the stands.
And Orval again coming into the zone with a lot of speed right down the center. That quick line out there for the Engineers.
RPI moving pretty well in transition in this one, but still no goals to show for it. Face-off coming up in the Yale end. Whiffen will do battle with Hitchcock. Hitchcock, the senior out of Manhasset, New York. It's out on Long Island. RPI wins the face-off. Here is a shot from Prapavesis that goes wide. I don't think Kaspersky saw that one, but it was well wider than Cage. Battle for it along the near boards is won by Whiffen. He's still trying to get Hitchcock off of him. Ryan Hitchcock battling with Brady Whiffen, the two forwards over in the far corner. Sweezy comes to help out, as does Troy York. York picks it up. Now Liljegren along the near boards. Looking up. Takes a shot. That goes off of Walsh's stick and into the corner. And they're going to say that was played with a high stick. So the faceoff's going to come outside the zone.
Whiffen arguing with the referee now, trying to plead his case.
So 19:07 remaining in period number 2. No score between the Engineers and Bulldogs, and the faceoff will come just outside of the Yale end. Hayhurst is going to settle in against Evan Smith. Yale wins that draw. They send it down through the neutral zone. It was picked up by Riley along his own blue line. Now he'll send it in. Kaspersky's just going to punch that one in the corner, and it's picked up by Matt Foley. And here's keep it in. Burgess sends it to the slot. Nobody there. And it squirts over to the near boards where it's picked up by Smith and sent out of the zone. Riley's going to send it in, but RPI still has to get on side. They do, but Yale collects it in the meantime. Back out to center for Evan Smith. He gets it into the zone. They are offsides. So the Engineers and Bulldogs both trading somewhat lackadaisical movement of the puck. Now RPI is just going to send that one in. That, I guess, is not going to be icing, but essentially the puck's just going from end to end with no real control here early in the second period. Evan Smith has it taken off his stick by Burgess. Some good forechecking by the RPI redshirt freshman out of Phoenix, Arizona. Battle now is along the near boards. Emil Orval has, I think that was Larkin on top of him, and Yale's going to be able to put that back out center. RPI just sends that in as they change. Now Larkin's going to try and send that up ice. It's taken by DeMontis, who moves into the zone. And Samick is going to pick it up in the defensive end as Billy Jerry carries it out and gets it up for Jaron Burke. Burke moves into the zone, loses the handle of it on the blue line, and DeMontis now moving back the other way for Yale. He'll kind of take a quick no-look shot that got blocked almost immediately. Now the battle near the Zamboni door is won by the Bulldogs. Back out to the point. Shot by Matthews, goes well wide. And now Stevens takes a wraparound save by Marshall. And it's Prapavessis who tries to get that one out there. Back onto the stick of Walsh at the point. Walsh moves in. Looks to center it, but crashing the net was Dorsey, and he couldn't pick up the puck. So it goes back out to center. Walsh tries to move in. Tries to get it to Dorsey, but it's quickly poked away by Samick. Now back to the point for Lindstrand. Lindstrand takes a shot that I think was saved by Marshall. It goes into the corner. And now Samick is going to be the one to come away with it. He just whips it looking for Polino, but behind him. And that ends up going all the way down ice for icing.
Yeah, the Bulldogs are coming out with a lot more energy here in the second period. It's almost like they have a sense of urgency, but Marshall up to the task so far. Certainly
more Yale opportunities here in the second period, and that last sequence was certainly a good one for the Bulldogs. Got some good passes strung together, and they're moving the puck well. Now it looks like we're going to have a...
Looks like they're going to... The Engineers, I believe, have called timeout.
Yeah, this is one of those timeouts after an icing call, especially considering that the Bulldogs were moving the puck pretty well down there. You want to call that timeout in a situation like this. You don't want to give up the later game goes scoreless. You still don't want to be the one to give up the first goal, especially the later it goes. So really, just that's how RPI is going to get the opportunity to change their lines right here. They're going to take that right now, keep this a scoreless game.
It's a smart call there by Coach Smith.
Going to overtime in Providence. Still tied 1-1 between RPI and Brown in women's hockey. Lovisa Solander is in net for the Engineers. She's made a total of 38 saves on 39 shots, so another big evening for the RPI netminder.
Terrific as always.
Brown's certainly a team that's looking to bust out of the doldrums in women's hockey. They used to be a real power in women's hockey, but they've had several rough seasons, and they're finally starting to try to turn that back around here in 2017. Well, the face-off down on the RPI end is, well, it's more or less won by Yale, I guess. They're going to be the ones to ultimately come away with the puck. Now the quick shot saved by Marshall, but it's loose. Still loose in the slot, comes back up to the top, and another shot is blocked by Liljegren. Yale still with it. They take another shot. That was careened off of something in front of the net. And now the puck along the near boards. RPI evading with that one. Just a grand opportunity for Yale. Probably the best of either team in this game to score. They still come away empty-handed. Now the Engineers in the attacking zone. Liljegren has the puck along the near boards. He swings around towards the top of the slot. He takes a shot that gets blocked. He is able to come back up with it on a stick before it leaves the zone. Down low for Whiffen. Back to Liljegren with a one-timer save. And he ends up with the puck and tries to take a backhand, but he's being defended very well by Ted Hart. Now Prapavessis deep in the zone. Wanders back up to the top of the slot. Has it now for Wilson, who's deep. And he has it taken off of his stick, and Yale looks to break out. Errant pass goes off the near boards and all the way down for icing. Really just a wasted opportunity there by the Bulldogs, but some decent stick work by the Engineers in their attacking zone.
One thing I'd like to note is that Jesper Orval came back on defense to cover for Jared Wilson when he went below the red line.
And Wilson was
as a
deep.
result was able to
Wilson was deep in that zone when he had that taken off of his stick. So
as a result, Engineers able to keep the puck in the offensive zone.
face-off won by Yale. They'll rifle it back out to center. And that's going to head down ice again. No icing this time as Riley goes down to collect. Riley up for Polino. He taps it into the zone, but it's picked up by Evan Smith. Now Anthony Walsh going across. Taken by Manley, and that goes back out to center. Here come the Bulldogs back in. Lead for Walsh. Walsh looking to back in. Shot, a couple of more shots down from down low, and Ethan Marshall covers up for the whistle. Just a reminder, you're listening to live coverage of Engineers hockey on 91.5 FM, WRPI. Troy, Tom Reel, and Joe Piscicano here for you on the call. Out in Providence, the Engineers have picked up a 2-1 victory in overtime as Marissa Raspa scores her third of the season to win it for RPI, just 37 seconds in, with the lone assist going to Jamie Grigsby, her second point of the night. So the RPI women's hockey team picking up 2 points on the road at Brown this evening.
14:43 left here in the second period. Back in the fieldhouse.
Yale moving through center. There is Evan Smith. Has the puck taken off his stick. Samick now with it. Tries to get up for Emil Orval. Is able to push it up and out of the zone. Anthony Walsh gives chase. The junior from Burr Ridge, Illinois, goes behind his own net. And now here comes Evan Smith. Has Paleko with him. Smith takes a shot, goes just wide. And Emil Orval is the first one there to pick up for RPI. Now coming forward with it is Hayhurst. Hayhurst into the zone. Burgess now up to looking for Grant, who was deep, but he couldn't handle that pass. Now here comes Yale going the other way. 3-on-1. Here's Paleko. Takes a shot. Saved by Marshall. Rebound. Goes to the side. RPI picks it up. Great save by Marshall on an odd man rush for the Bulldogs. Here comes Burgess the other way with it. Spins around looking for Hayhurst. He can't find him, and Hayhurst has to go back to get it. Here he is now in the corner looking for Burke in the slot, and he ends up going all the way down ice.
Burgess's stick work is out of this world. He's just got so much vision. Passes are incredible.
Jaron Burke was in the right place at the right time, but wasn't able to get his stick on that turnaround pass. Yale now in their own end. Adam Larkin over for Brian Matthews. As Yale starts marching forward with it. DeMontis is just going to send it in, left by Marshall, who has it taken off of his stick by Stevens. He's able to get around and get that into his glove for the whistle. Really just a...
Puck sort of ricocheted off his stick after he realized that the puck was taken off his stick by Stevens. Just scooped it up.
Stevens was right there behind him and just stripped him of it. That's something where the guys on the ice have got to be yelling at their goaltender that he's got a man right there.
But smart play there by Marshall to just slow it up, get the face-off.
Yale wins the draw. Shot from the point. That goes up over the net and wide. Now puck along the end boards. Whiffen puts Stevens up against the boards. Manley doing battle now, and it is Riley who comes away with it. Riley up out of the zone. Liljegren is just going to send that one down. And Troy York just absolutely clobbered Larkin, and a quick shot goes over to the near boards. Another shot. That was a backhanded opportunity saved by Kaspersky, now behind the net as Whiffen does battle. York trying to get his man as Riley takes a kind of a weak shot, goes over towards the near boards after it was shoveled by the Bulldogs. Now here comes Yale into the zone 1-on-2. Tight angle shot is saved into the corner by Marshall. That was Kevin O'Neill, the Latham, New York native, with that opportunity for the Bulldogs. Puck now back out to center. Polino sends into the attacking zone. That is Dorsey near his bench. He's just going to send it down for Marshall to pick up. Now here comes RPI the other way. They have some speed. Here comes Tyrannese on the near boards. Loses the handle on the puck, so has to curl around with it. Tries to send it in for Polino at the top of the slot, but it's intercepted by the Bulldogs. And here comes Brett Jewell. He will send it down ice, and it's taken by Grant in the defensive zone. Out to center for Tyrannese. Tyrannese now on the near boards. Waits. Looks for Samick at the top of the slot, but he can't control the pass, and it's back out to center. And now we're going to have,
I believe, a boarding penalty.
I'm not sure they're calling a penalty. They might just be
slowing up.
might have blown the whistle because Hitchcock was a little bit slow getting up after being hit. I'm not sure that they're calling a penalty.
No, Samick's just going to our bench. So.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Not too many penalties in this one so far for either team. RPI has taken a couple of them in the first period, and Yale took one, but so far midway through this game, that's all we've had for penalties in this one. Still no score between RPI and Yale, 11:29 left, and now we take a penalty, of course. This is going to be a boarding call against the Engineers, maybe a little bit of a makeup
maybe
for...
a trip, I think, we'll see. I saw a stick get under Kolekko's leg, and he sort of he fell over, so...
This is Burgess going off for boarding. So with 11:28 left in period number 2, Yale goes back to the power play. And as we discussed in the first period, to call Yale's power play anemic would be probably generous. As of this moment, they are 2 for 46 on the man advantage, and they are on their third one this evening. They have yet to hit pay dirt. RPI controlling the puck after the faceoff, and some bad luck for RPI as Grant puts that one up and out of the ice surface, so another face-off coming up in the RPI end. Hitchcock to settle in against Billy Jerry. And Yale comes up with the puck. Walsh at the point. Sends it down for Snively behind the RPI cage. Snively over to the Zamboni doors. He's being pursued by Prapavesis. RPI very aggressive on the penalty kill as they start attacking the puck along the far boards. Now it's back to the point for Walsh. Walsh back to Hitchcock. Hitchcock on the far boards. Skates up. That's tapped by Prapavesis, but Snively is there to keep control. Now the puck goes behind the net. A collision helps Jerry be the first one to the puck, and he's just going to bounce that one off and down ice as the Engineers kill the first part of this penalty off. 1:12 remaining on the Burgess boarding call as Yale sets up behind their own net. Crossing the blue line is DeMontis. And he loses the handle on it, but he gets it back. Tries to come around. No, quick shot by Larkin. It was just kind of floated in after his stick was checked, and Marshall had to be big on that save. Not easy when it comes into you slower than you're expecting it, but Larkin now with it. Tries a cross-ice pass, but that goes all the way to the boards. Now back for Kevin O'Neill on the blue line. He takes a shot. That's tipped up by Tyrannese. RPI still can't clear that out of the zone. Now it's behind the RPI cage.
Polino without a stick.
Engineers down to 3 men with a stick in their defensive zone on the penalty kill. Wilson comes away, and he'll get it down ice. That was touched by O'Neill with a high stick, and he really doesn't have much of a choice but to play it. So some good luck for RPI there as they're able to get that one out.
With just 16 seconds left on that power play.
Patrick Polino lost his stick. Wilson able to get that one out, and now a penalty or a face-off coming up in the neutral zone thanks to that puck played by O'Neill with a high stick.
And
actually, that's going to end up all the way down into the Yale end with 16 seconds left on the penalty kill for the Engineers. So.
And with just under halfway through the game.
Very, very fortuitous right there, I would say. Hayhurst settles in against Hitchcock for the draw just to the right of Corbin Kaspersky. And Hayhurst is going to get tossed in favor of Troy York. You've got Yale's best draw man going in against Troy York, who was 0 for 2 on the draw in the first period. And Yale is the one that comes away with the puck, although they don't have much more time left on the power play. Moving forward is Ted Hart into the zone as the RPI penalty expires. And the teams now return to 5 aside. Yale now 0 for 3 in this one on the man advantage, and their power play woes continue to mount. Emil Orval intercepts it in the attacking zone. And Hayhurst has it taken off of his stick, and it goes to center. He was being dogged by Anthony Walsh. Burgess trying to maneuver with the puck in the attacking zone. He has it back out to center. Now here comes Whiffen trying to bring it in. He has a little bit of an angle, trying to get around Sweezy. Can't, but he sends it in, and that's to be sticked aside by Kaspersky. It's Emil Orval on top of it, though. He brings it back to the top of the slot. Now here's an opportunity for RPI. Shot and saved and held onto by Kaspersky. That was Riley finding himself alone on the near side.
Great thinking there by Whiffen as he tried to make the power move from the near side of the ice, but he wasn't able, he was defended well, so he spun around, little spinorama, and just tossed it across the crease where Orval had a shot at it.
So as the ice crew scoops up some of that loose
snow
out there, just a quick rundown of some of the statistics in this one. No goals between RPI and Yale with 8:38 remaining in the second period. Shot attempts are 33-30 in favor of the Bulldogs. They are also leading in shots 18-12. They are up 20-16 in faceoffs overall. The Bulldogs have blocked 10 shots to RPI's 5. And as we've mentioned, the Bulldogs 0 for 3 on the power play, RPI 0 for 1.
Eventually somebody's got to break through, right? Still scoreless here.
Well, they're not gonna require it, but it certainly is a common feature. And the later this game goes, the more important that first goal becomes. And so far, there's no real sign that either of these teams has a definitive edge over the other. So this could be anyone's contest. Back to play. The Bulldogs move through center, have it down on the RPI end, but it's picked up by Charlie Manley. He puts it off of Tierney's skate. And now bringing it into the zone is Jesper Orval. Crashing is Manley, but he couldn't get a stick on it as Orval just sent that one towards the net. Now Yale moving back the other way, 2-on-2. Manley breaks that one up just enough to keep the Bulldogs from getting a decent opportunity. They send that one through the crease. Now here comes Polino. RPI moving 2-on-2. Polino along the near boards. Has it taken away from him by Larkin, but he gets back onto it behind the net. Now on the far side, a shot, and that's a save by Kaspersky, but drops right in front of him. And fortunately for the Bulldogs, Will Dorsey is there to pick it up and move it down ice. Glove down by Marshall. Now RPI looking to move the other way with it quickly. Liljegren gains the zone. Looks like he was kind of looking for York with a pass, but ends up in the corner. Now Liljegren goes behind the net. Has it taken off by Brian Matthews. Now Walsh into the near corner. Gets it up out of the zone, but Wilson is there to collect it along the zone blue line. Matthews battling for it in the neutral zone. It's back out to Prapavesis this time. Prapavesis is being harassed by Stevens as he tries to get out of the zone. Stevens doing a great job forechecking, but that puck ends up on the stick of Whiffen along his blue line, tries to push it in, but loses the handle, and is picked up by Kaspersky for the whistle.
And you can see as we get further and further into the game, the defensemen of the Engineers starting to take more chances toward the net. We just had Manley fly in on the net to try and get a shot off, and Riley a bit earlier, and Wilson. We had Jared Wilson below the red line, so just the Engineer defensemen started to become more and more aggressive later in the game.
I have to admit, I was a little shocked to see Charlie Manley all the way down there. It was, it's maybe not a high percentage pass, but he was certainly in a good spot to do something with that one, and a good scoring opportunity for RPI at least. Here's Lindstrand, the Medina, Minnesota native. Moves it forward, but again, Yale moving into the zone can't keep a handle on it. That's been one of their bigger problems tonight, is gaining control of the zone with the puck. And RPI comes away with a 3-on-2 if RPI gets on their horse. Here comes Burgess on the near boards now. Drops it back off for Samek. Samek takes a shot, and that's gloved down by Kaspersky, who holds on for the whistle. Kind of a fluttering puck. I think Kaspersky had to be big on that one.
Yeah, and great movement there. Great stick handling there by Hayhurst, taking it right into the offensive zone all by himself and getting that opportunity off there for Samek.
6:29 remaining in the second period. Still no score between RPI and Yale. And the face-off coming up to Corbin Kaspersky's left. And it looks like Brady Whiffen will face off against Ryan Hitchcock. And after a scrum at the face-off circle, it kind of ends up back for Yale as Hart tries to move forward. Picked off by Troy York on the far board. He takes a shot, and that's Lindstrand who had that end up on his stick. They do battle for it along the near corner, or far corner, excuse me. Now, Liljegren curling around, takes a shot, is blocked. Now another shot, that's saved, another shot. More shots as rebounds just keep being left in front, some being blocked as Lindstrand had lost his stick. So another opportunity for RPI as they keep it in the zone. Here's Troy York as Lindstrand retrieves the twig. Here is Riley now in the near corner, trying to get himself around Joe Snively. Curls back around. Riley deep. Back up for Polino near the point. Polino takes a slap shot that goes just wide of the net. Might have hit something in front, but here comes Yale 2-on-2 the other way. Dump pass is picked up by Manley. Now Hart has it. Hart tries to cut to the net, but a good defensive play by Whiffen there. Now a shot saved by Marshall. And Jesper Orval picks up, and he's going to lift that one. Ends up hitting the scoreboard. So bad luck for Jesper Orval, glancing that off the front of the scoreboard, and he tried to lift it out to center, and we'll have face-off in the RPI end.
Yeah, so a flutter of opportunities there from both sides as rebounds were left open for Engineers to whack.
Both netminders have been pretty decent when they can see the puck, but both have left plenty of opportunities as Larkin fans on one from the point. That ends up going all the way back into his zone. Now a forechecking Jesper Orval gets it even farther into the zone. RPI now more or less controlling the puck as Orval comes away with it. Kind of a free opportunity for the Engineers on the miscue by Larkin. Tyrannies behind the net. Back to the backhand. Tries to leave it off for Pravovessis, but he is shoved off the play by Tyler Welsh, a freshman out of Whistler, British Columbia. That pass was looking for Polino, but he was coming off the ice, so it ends up in the hands of the Yale Bulldogs, who will look to move back up ice. They gain the zone with Welsh. Taken off the puck by Burke, who leaves it for Wilson. Wilson behind his own net. He gets kind of bumped, so Pravovessis has to take it. And he'll play it off the boards towards Burke in the neutral zone. Burke now back to Wilson. Wilson comes across the blue line, just sends that in straight on Kaspersky. He holds on for the whistle.
Yeah, so the speed of the game starting to pick up here with 4:12 left in the second period from both sides, trying to create chances, taking a little more risk are the teams.
Certainly a little bit more open play on both ends. And we've seen some decent scoring opportunities from both teams in the last couple of minutes. 4:12 left in the second period, still looking for that breakthrough goal. Both of these teams are scoreless late here in the second. RPI with a face-off win. Behind the net is Hayhurst. Now Burgess. Back up to Hayhurst along the near boards. He will cut towards the net. He takes a shot saved by Kaspersky over into the far corner. Behind for Emil Orval. Orval behind the net. He just kind of tries to center that, but it comes off of his stick and ends up with Yale as the Bulldogs move forward, all kind of 2-on-2, but they've lost control in the RPI end. And battle for it along the near board. Stevens trying to get it up for DeMontis. Robbie DeMontis with it in the near corner. He's battling with Grant now. Tries to get up for O'Neill. He has it pickpocketed by Emil Orval, and Todd Burgess will move forward with it now. For Orval. Orval gains the zone. Spins around, looks for Burgess, but it's too far ahead. And it's picked up instead by O'Neill, and he just lofts it down ice. Riley trying to find Whiffen along the blue line, but a good check by Walsh ends up sending that all the way down ice, and Yale's able to gain possession. Bulldogs again failing to bring it into the attacking zone. Here comes Riley now. He's going to try and find York with a pass that goes down ice. Just missed York, and they're going to call that icing.
Yeah, and York a little trying to say that he touched it with his stick.
Yeah, I didn't see much of a deviation on the trajectory of that puck.
So still pleading his case, but nonetheless, offensive or defensive zone faceoff. for the Engineers.
Will Dorsey's going to take this face-off for the Bulldogs. He wins it back, but York is the one that can pounce on it quickest, and he goes forward with it. He splits the defense, but has to go after the puck in the corner. There's Liljegren down there helping him out. He's trying to get Adam Larkin off of him.
Yeah, York and Larkin have been going at it all night.
Some big hits on both sides of that battle as well, so certainly worth looking at in the near future as RPI continues to battle for it along the near boards. Yale comes away with an opportunity to move with numbers if they hurry. Here come the Bulldogs taking a shot. That's saved by Marshall. He doesn't know where it is, and the puck was just to his right, kind of a wide open cage.
Prapavesis blocked it.
But Welsh was unable to find it thanks to a good move by Prapavesis to get down on it. Now Prapavesis gets sent down to the ice. Polino comes away with it, now moving forward one-on-one. Here's Polino, takes a shot, and that's just between the pads of Kaspersky. He's a little bit slow on getting down into position for that one, but he's able to hang on for the whistle. Yeah. Kind of Polino almost kind of making something out of nothing right there.
Yeah, great awareness by Prapavesis, not only to block that shot after Marshall got stuck in the crease, but also to send it up the boards so that Polino could get that opportunity.
We've seen a lot of Patrick Polino being in the right place at the right time tonight, and Coach Dave Smith had mentioned he was one of the best players in practice this week, and he certainly is showing it in this game. He's one of the powering engines for the RPI offense in this one, as it were. But with 2 minutes left in the second period, both RPI and Yale looking for the opening goal of this game. Engineers try to send it back into the attacking zone. It's picked up by Foley, and Foley's going to send it down into the RPI end. Samick is there to try to collect it. Nice pass up to Tyrannese. Now to Polino. Polino can't control the pass from Tyrannese. And now the puck will ping pong at center. Comes away to the Bulldogs. A quick shot is saved by Marshall. Bulldogs still with it. That's O'Neill behind the net. Back up to the point. Foley now. Foley takes a shot that's blocked by Polino. And DeMontis is now going to have to come back to center to tangle with it. He's going to send it down, and Marshall is going to stick it aside to Jesper Orval. Now to Burgess near his own bench. Stick lands it away from one defender, can't get around a second one, but it ends up on the stick of Will Riley. Very close for the Engineers for 6 men. They're going to call it. We got a whistle. I'm not sure if the linesman's trying to say that RPI had 6 men on the ice. Burgess was over in the area. I think he might have been trying to get off the ice. A lot of standing around right now.
Yeah, referee's at the box.
Yep, they're calling 6. Too many on the Engineers. That's the risk that you take when you're trying to make a line change in transition on your side of the ice. And when Burgess had the stick poked off of had the pucks poke off his stick, ended up creating towards the RPI end, and it hit the player that was coming on. So
Burke's going to serve the minor.
So with 1:03 remaining in the second period, Yale with their 4th power play opportunity of the game, and if they were going to get themselves off of their schneid on the man advantage, this would be a very opportune time for them to do it, either now or in the beginning of the third period.
Jerry and Tyrannese, both centers out there for the Engineers on the penalty kill.
Face off one back, and RPI is going to get that one down ice as Billy Jerry sends it down. As we enter the final minute of the second period. Bulldogs looking to set themselves up on the power play. Larkin drops it backwards for Kevin O'Neill, the Latham, New York native. Brings it into the zone. O'Neill behind the cage. Spins around. Sends it back up to the point for Paleko. Now behind the RPI net, the Bulldogs lose it, and Prapavesis just sent it off the Zamboni door. And now that was an odd way of doing things, but it certainly worked out. It's one of the benefits of playing at home, is knowing those bounces. Yale sends it back in. Hitchcock battling behind the cage, has Hart with him. Prapavesis trying to get him off the puck. Comes back out to center. There's a shot by Foley, and that goes just wide. I think Marshall might have gotten a piece of it, if not stopped in front. Now we're going to, as time expires in the second period, we've got Hitchcock screaming at Jared Wilson, and they tango for a few moments before the officials come to separate them. But 40 minutes into this one, there's still nothing between these two teams, both of which are looking to break the ice and get the scoring started. Still nothing.
Yeah, still no scoring here, but many opportune chances from both sides as they're starting to skate quicker and starting to open up the ice a little bit. But you gotta like what you're seeing from your engineers, and they look confident here tonight, and they look ready to pounce on any opportunity that they can get.
All right. With that, we will step aside and we'll be back momentarily with some women's hockey discussion for the second intermission. You are listening to live coverage of Engineers Hockey on 101.5 FM, WRPI, Troy.
Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, chuck your pucks. Puck number 128, 128, you're the winner of the Dunkin' Donuts gift certificate and the Dunkin' Donuts Chuck and Puck contest. Thank you for participating in tonight's contest. I'd like to remind you the Hudson Hall Figure Skating Club is in its 66th year of offering Learn to Skate classes. And they take place right here at Houston Fieldhouse on Saturday mornings. Classes are for all ages. For more information, check out the website at hnfsc.org. home next weekend, December 8th and 9th. And Saturday, December 9th, is Pat the House night. Okay, we're going to talk to things on Clemson next Saturday at 3 p.m. Come on out for your free t-shirt and support RPI Women's Hockey. They've got award-winning chili, all off the bone ribs, hand-cut steaks, and 10% off with your RPI staff or student ID. A legendary meal like this is only found at Texas Roadhouse, 105 Wolf Road in Raleigh. Come dine with us at Texas Roadhouse. RPI would like to thank the Rensselaer Alumni Association, 9 Row Companies, Patterson, Sampson, Ginsburg, and Griffin Law Firm, the Ladies Counter, Sodexo, C&S Companies, the Hilton Garden Inn in Troy, the National Grid Foundation, Carter Construction, the Desmond Hotel, the Recovery Sports Room, E. Stewart Jones Hacker and Murphy, Stanley Steamer, Stewart's, ESN Sports, the Shea Clark Benefits, Rensselaer Honda, Freihoffers, Repeat Business Systems, CDTA, H2M Architects and Engineers, and Wills, Dearborn, and Troy, all proud sponsors of RPI Hockey.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4.
other RPI teams in action today. Women's hockey final score from Providence, RPI 2, Brown 1. And in women's basketball final, RPI 56, Clarkson 41. In other ECAC hockey action tonight, all after 2 periods, it's Princeton 7, Dartmouth 2. Harvard 3, Quinnipiac 1. Union 2, Brown 0. All after 2 periods of play. Also after 2, it's Cornell 1 and Miami 1.
Welcome back inside the Houston Fieldhouse here on the campus of Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York, as we get set to bring you the third period of action between the RPI Engineers and the Yale Bulldogs. Your score after 2 periods of play is RPI 0 and Yale 0. My name is Tom Reel. I'm joined this evening by Joe Pisicano, and you're listening to this on your home for Engineers Hockey, 91.5 FM, WRPI Troy. Before we get started with the third period, I'd like to thank the Rensselaer Union. They provide the funding for WRPI and all of the club-related activity of the Institute, including WRPI's coverage of RPI hockey, football, and baseball. Just a reminder, WRPI is on the World Wide Web. Point your browser to WRPI.org and pick up WRPI's broadcast 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. As long as WRPI is broadcasting, we provide that broadcast on our internet feed. Once again, that is WRPI.org. Some scores to get you caught up on around the ECAC. Princeton still holding on to their massive lead over the Dartmouth Big Green. Both teams picking up a goal in the second period, so Princeton now with a 7-2 edge early in the third period. Harvard leads Quinnipiac 3-1, and Union now holding a 3-0 lead over the Brown Bears. Miami has tied it up against the Cornell Big Red. That game is early in the second period out in Ohio, and this game's still the only one that lacks a goal. 0-0 here at the Fieldhouse.
Yeah, tight checking game here, but the Engineers are going to start out on the penalty kill for 57 seconds to start the final period.
This has to be an opportunity for Yale to jump on RPI, but as we've been saying tonight, that power play has not been effective at all for Yale this season, and it certainly has not been in this game. As we get underway in the third period, RPI will be moving again from right to left across your radio dial as the Bulldogs gain the zone early in this one. Foley steps in, shot saved by Marshall, comes loose, and Polino's the one that picks it up, and he sends it back to center. 35 seconds remaining on the man advantage for the Bulldogs.
Solid start here for the penalty kill.
Foley just taking a quick shot, and sometimes when you're struggling on the power play, you just got to take a shot, see what you can create. Yale tries to gain the zone, but a pass is picked off by Wilson. He can't get it out, though. Here's a shot by Snively. Gets blocked. Foley now for Snively. Back to Foley at the point. Power play about to expire. Shot by Foley, and that's a goal for the Bulldogs. I don't see exactly how that ended up. It was deflected like in front, but yeah. it was like a ping-ponging shot. Foley took the initial shot from the blue line. It had to have been directed somewhere in the middle. There was a whole range of bodies in front.
Yeah, Ted Hart, the junior out of Phillips Exeter Academy, able to knife it in.
The Cumberland, Maine native, whose brother played for Hated Harvard, gets the Bulldogs on the board with just their third power play goal of the season. And that's just what I was saying. When you're got the puck at the point and you're having a hard time scoring power play goals, take shots and see what happens. The first one didn't work out for Matt Foley. The second one certainly did, and it's broken the ice here in this game. It's 1-0 Yale. RPI immediately back the other way with it, looking to get this one tied up. We're talking about that first goal being more important as the game goes along, and the first goal comes early in the first period to put this one ahead for Yale as the Bulldogs come into the attacking zone looking to add on to it. But RPI is able to scoop that one back out to center. Emil Orval is giving chase. He has 2 defenders around him, and it is the Bulldogs moving out with it. O'Neill can't control it. And Manley's going to send that one in. That was touched near the blue line, so there's no icing call. Adam Larkin for the Bulldogs now on the far boards. Tapped ahead. Just going to drizzle in on Marshall, and he tries to move it out. Now trying to move the other way with it is Reisinger. And now we've got a whistle for a hand pass, I believe. Must be a hand pass. We've got a face-off coming up at center ice. 18:02 remaining in the third period. Yale has broken onto the scoreboard. It's 1-0.
Yeah, and Jake Hayhurst came out with a steam of energy after that goal. Took the puck right off the face-off and just went straight ahead, barreled into the attacking zone, took a shot.
The scoreboard says it's Ryan Hitchcock scoring the goal, although I do think they're going to give this one to Hart in the end. Maybe Hitchcock with an assist, but Foley certainly with one of the primary assists as he took the initial shot from the blue line to help give Yale the 1-0 lead on the power play. Here comes RPI into the attacking zone. Riley loses it off of his stick. Back out to center, Polino now. Polino across the logo. He sends it in just in front of the blue line. Kaspersky behind to stop the puck. And it's picked up by Foley. Now behind for Spencer Lindstrand. Lindstrand's going to send that one all the way down ice. And they're waving off the icing. So Wilson's going to have to play it, and he moves it ahead for Tierney. Tierney's into the zone. Back pass for Orval. Orval curling around near the near boards. Has it taken off the stick by Ted Hart. Hart now across the blue line. Trying to find Hitchcock. Hart goes down. And it is RPI coming up with it. Another puck almost hit the scoreboard for a second time. But it ends up in the Yale end. Sweezy is there to move it into center. Ted Hart now into the attacking zone. Gets pushed off the puck by Tierney's. Evan Tierney's up for Liljegren. Liljegren pushes forward, but can't chase after it after a hit by Sweezy in the neutral zone. Back come the Bulldogs. Nice check by Whiffen. Gets on the stick of Liljegren. Penalty coming up on the Bulldogs. That was a great play by Whiffen to move the puck up for Liljegren. And Liljegren gets hooked as he moves in. It's going to be Kevin O'Neill, the freshman out of Latham, New York.
Good awareness by Whiffen to get that puck to Liljegren, and a great job by Liljegren to take advantage of his size and force the penalty there for the Bulldogs.
So now a moment of urgency for RPI. This is only their second power play of the game.
And they'll bring out their top faceoff man, Hayhurst.
Now trailing in this one 1-0. They haven't had too many opportunities on the power play, so certainly would be timely for them to make this one count as the Engineers win the faceoff in the attacking zone. Down low. Here's Orval, takes a shot, goes wide, looking for that upper corner. Kept in by Riley. Now behind the net for Hayhurst. Hayhurst back up to the point for Riley. Across for Prapavesis on the near boards. Back up to Riley at the point. Now shoveled in for Emil Orval. Back to Riley, who takes a big shot, goes just wide. Rebounds picked up by Liljegren, who can't get it on net. Has Orval helping him. Liljegren goes down chasing the puck, and it's going to end up on the stick of Matt Foley, who sends that one all the way down ice, where it's stopped by Lyndon Marshall.
Engineers getting great motion here on this power play. You can sense their urgency.
1:16 left on the man advantage for the Engineers. That's their second of the game. Whiffen can't control it. It is Riley coming away with it near his own bench. Whiffen brings it into the zone. York tries to push it farther. Whiffen gets taken down behind the play, no call. DeMontis in shorthanded. Pass is broken up by Burgess, and that goes out of play. I think fans wanted an interference call.
Yeah, and I think they should have gotten it, as Whiffen was nowhere near the puck, just dragged to the ice there.
He got splayed out after bringing it into the zone. Troy York was the one with possession trying to move it forward. And that really ended up being the catalyst for Yale moving the other way with it. So
55 seconds left here on this power play for the Engineers. 15:29 left in the game.
Face-off is to the right of Marshall. So Yale with a shorthanded opportunity. If they can win this draw, it'll go backwards for the Engineers. And Wilson now looking to move out. Some good forechecking by Tyler Welsh. He now has it up against the far boards. Some good penalty killing here by the Bulldogs. Now York along the attacking zone has it up for Burgess. Burgess takes a shot, saved, another opportunity on the rebound, but Whiffen can't bring it around, and it ends up with the Bulldogs. They send it out, but a great opportunity for Todd Burgess. Just can't finish it. As the Engineers again looking like they're knocking on the door, but they only have 20 seconds remaining on this power play to get anything done. Puck ends up back with the Bulldogs. They just shoot it in on Marshall, and he will leave it to the side for Tommy Grant. 9 seconds now on the penalty to O'Neill. RPI with one last rush. Here is Wilson, brings it into the zone. Gets taken off the puck by Foley. Back by Hitchcock, but Burgess intercepts. Burgess looks for a speeding Will Riley in the slot. He can't control it, and the puck ends up down ice. Penalty is over. RPI 0 for 2 on the man advantage. So Yale dodges a bullet there. With 14-14 remaining in the third period, they have a 1-0 lead. Riley lifts it over to Polino on the boards. Now here comes Tyrannese. Tyrannese has Jesper Orval with him. Brings it himself, tries to take a shot. Now a shot by Manley. He goes just wide. Had a lot of power on that one. Now Jesper Orval behind the cage has it glance off of a stick. That belonged to Evan Smith of Yale. And it is the Bulldogs who pick it up behind their own net. Looking up for Evan Smith, who has his stick back. Manley can't move it past Matthews. Matthews is going to take a shot. That's off the stick of Marshall and over into the far boards. Now Evan Smith has it poked off of his stick. TJ Samick is going to move it up to Polino. Polino goes backwards with it. Has it to Manley. RPI kind of just playing with it in their own end as the lines change. Moving up ice now is Polino. Polino takes a shot. It's off the mask of Kaspersky. Goes right to his side, but cleared out quickly by the Bulldogs. Good defensive play by Yale there. As they're able to move it up and out of the zone, Burke tries to take Stevens off of the puck. And he is ultimately successful. Has it on the logo, but sends it back for Samick. Now Tommy Grant lifts one over into the area near the bench, but it bounces off and goes down ice for icing. Not a good move there by the Engineers to ice the puck when they had no real pressure.
Yeah, I think he was looking for Burke or Jerry on the near wing, but no Engineer able to get their stick on it.
Jerry wins the face-off with Welsh, and RPI will look to break out of their own end. Good forechecking by the Bulldogs. Keeps it bottled up in the near corner. Jerry and Grant trying to dig it out. And it's Samick who comes away with it. Samick moving up ice across the logo. Tries to move it to Burke along the blue line. Burke moves in behind the net. He has 3 Bulldogs there against him. And with those kind of numbers, Yale picks up the puck. Here is Prapavessis in his own end. D-to-D pass to Wilson. He brings it across the blue line. Wilson still with it, going deep, behind the net. Tries to center it. York tries to shoot it, but he can't get a handle, but he does manage to grab control of the puck in the end. Here's Whiffen taking a tight angle shot that goes wide. Wilson tries to keep it in, but he moves in front of the puck. Now an opportunity for Yale the other way. Here comes Ted Hart. Ted Hart moving into the zone. Takes a shot that goes just wide. Engineers trying to pick up and clear, but it's taken by Joe Snively. Now Yale all alone behind the net. Wraparound attempt is stopped by Marshall. Now here comes RPI the other way. They have 2-on-2. Here comes Liljegren trying to get around Larkin. Can't do it. They end up over by the Zamboni doors. Liljegren goes down on his own accord. Tries to backhand it deeper into the zone, but it's picked up by Snively. Now an errant pass ends up on the stick of Charles Manley. But Robbie DeMontis is doing battle with him along the near boards. Now the puck squirts over into the far corner. Manley is going to fight for it with Luke Stevens, Carolina Hurricanes draft pick. Engineers end up with it. They're able to push it out to center. Here's Emil Orval on the logo. Nice pass for Hayhurst. Hayhurst moves in, takes a shot. Easy save by Kaspersky. Lands in front of him, but it comes out. Now a quick shot by Emil Orval is saved. Yale now with an opportunity to go the other way with it. RPI quickly getting numbers back, though, and it's intercepted by Orval. Hayhurst brings it down and curls in his own end. Hayhurst brings it across for Polino. Polino takes a shot that goes just wide, and now they're going to say that was deflected up and over, so a face-off coming up in the Yale end with 10:34 left in regulation. Yale holding on to that 1-0 lead.
Yes, and the crowd responding to the Engineer push, showing their appreciation for it as they try to tie it up here in the middle of the third period.
Great shift for Emil Orval and for Jacob Hayhurst.
Yes.
Absolutely. Evan Tierney's will take this face-off against Evan Smith. Tierney's tried to go forward with it, but he's going to end up with it on his stick ultimately anyway. Samek takes a shot that goes to the left of the cage, and Yale quickly moving the other way with it. Now here's Evan Smith. He's looking to get it to his brother, but
looks like Samek took it.
His brother Mitchell, but yeah, Samek took it away and into the corner. And the
smart play there to just lay out his body, prevent the pass.
Are they calling a hand pass here? Face-off coming up from the RPI end nonetheless. So.
It looks like they're going to skate 5-on-5.
Shots are 28-25 in favor of the Bulldogs. It's been a fairly evenly played game from start to our present point. We'll have to see if RPI can keep up that relatively even play or try to move it more in their favor in order to get this one tied up. But as we stand right now, the Bulldogs trying to work it in the attacking zone. Kept in near the point by Diorsi. RPI still trying to push it out just near the blue line, but Yale does a great job to keep it in. Here's Tyler Welsh. Moved by Diorsi, back to Welsh behind the net. Now that's going to be a penalty on the Bulldogs. Yeah, Welsh took Tierney's down behind his own cage, so a bad penalty for Yale to take. This is play still going on. The Engineers have Marshall off for the extra attacker as the penalty took place in their attacking zone. Now RPI is going to come in off sides, so the point is moot, but
now Foley trying to start something up with Tierney's in the far corner.
I think he thinks that Tierney's went down awfully easy there, and it's entirely possible, but it was still not a position that Walsh should have put himself in, given the, I'm sorry, Welsh. There's a Walsh and a Welsh, and I knew I was going to do that at some point, and I did right there. Tyler Welsh, the forward out of Whistler, British Columbia, is guilty of hooking basically behind the net in his attacking zone, which is just never really a good reason to take a hooking penalty deep in your attacking zone. So kind of a gifted penalty for the Engineers here. They really could afford to cash in this opportunity.
And yes, the Engineers looking to.
Now something's going on.
Maybe a timeout, or maybe just a.
RPI's already called their timeout, so that's not what's going on here. I saw
maybe the Bulldog.
That would be a poor time to call timeout when you're about to go on the penalty kill.
Or maybe he's just trying to get an explanation. The ref's over at the Yale bench.
Whatever this is, it was instigated by. It seems to have been instigated by Dave Smith. Now here comes the ice crew. Maybe
they're just clearing the ice.
It's entirely possible that that Smith was saying, "Look, it's time for the ice crew to come out." He wants to get some of the snow scooped up.
Fresh ice, yeah.
Yeah, as fresh ice as you can for this power play, which is smart. Maybe if you're Keith Elaine, you would prefer that it wait until after the power play. Usually when a power play is beginning, you don't want to try and interrupt it, but for a media timeout or anything along those lines. So could it just be Dave Smith looking up and seeing that with 9:28 left in the period, it was time for the ice crew to come out and scoop sweep things up a little bit. So RPI maybe with a little bit of an extra edge in the attacking zone now with some of that snow in front of the crease out of the way.
Yeah, so the Engineers, they really have to cash in on this opportunity. 2-minute minor penalty assessed.
This might be their opportunity, and they may not get another one. So it's certainly a big moment in this game as the Engineers come away with the puck after the face-off. Deep into the zone for Liljegren. He can't collect that one, and it's over for Mitchell Smith along the far boards. 3 Engineers battling with Mitchell Smith to get that away. Some good defensive play there by the sophomore from Stouffville, Ontario. Riley's all alone as he collects it. Takes a shot. Liljegren tried to put it in, but couldn't. And Engineers still maintaining control. Here is Hayhurst with it. He takes a shot. That glances off a stick and goes into the corner. Now Riley with it. Back up to Prapavessis. Brought over and just off the side of the cage is a shot by Hayhurst. And Yale is able to bring it out of the zone. Coming out with it is Mitchell Smith. Came in one-on-one, but had it poked away by Lyndon Marshall. Now some additionally good defense. This is a great penalty kill shift for Mitchell Smith, as he's able to forecheck a little bit as well before he comes off the ice. He's able to kill a lot of that first period, or that first minute of that penalty by himself. RPI back into the zone. Whiffen has it over for Burgess. Burgess curling around his man before Whiffen in the slot. Now a shot by Grant, and that might have been saved by Kaspersky. Went over in the corner. DeMontis is the one that's able to get it out of the zone. RPI having to regroup now with about 30 seconds remaining on the man advantage. Still 1-0 Yale, 7:55 left in the first period as RPI looks for another rush on the attack. Here's Burgess. Nice pass. Shot. And where's the puck? It's back on the stick of Brady Whiffen. Engineers send it behind the net. Burgess for Wilson. Now Grant along the blue line. Wilson. Burgess along the near boards. Back to Wilson, who winds up, takes a shot, and scores! Great shot by Jared Wilson. I'm not sure if it hit something in front, but it was just an absolute laser beam from the top of the slot, right on the ECAC hockey logo. And RPI on the power play has scored to tie this one up at 1 with 7:29 remaining in the third period.
And yeah, after all that fancy passing by Todd Burgess and Brady Whiffen and Troy York to try and get the net wide open, turns out it's just a simple slap shot from the point from Jared Wilson that breaks it open breaks open Kaspersky. And now we have another.
The Yale captain Ryan Hitchcock was over by the referee's crease, and now the officials are speaking with Keith Elaine. I'm not, unless they're going to be looking at some kind of a
goalie interference.
That's usually what it ends up being when there's not anything that would be very obvious. So let's have another look at this on RPI TV. Troy York is in front of Kaspersky.
But he doesn't touch.
He doesn't touch him. He's right. He's just right in front of him. So if they look at this, which it looks like they're going to, there's certainly no argument for goaltender interference based on the overhead, at least. Just a reminder, you are listening to live coverage of Engineers hockey on 91.5 FM WRPI Troy. Tom Reel and Joe Pisacano with you on the call. The officials are reviewing this goal, but from everything that we've seen, it's a good goal. It did end up in the back of the net. That's not something that they can really look at. That was very clearly over the line. He wasn't being interfered with.
York doesn't touch him at all.
Yeah, this is as cut and dried as I can tell. There might be some question as to whether York touched it, and if he touched it with a high stick. But just looking at the angle that we have from the side, his stick doesn't go up into the air until he raises it after they've scored. So the only question that I think that you could say on this one is, was there goaltender interference? And from everything that we're looking at, it's pretty clearly not any of those things. Last week, Perry was in Belfast trying to figure out what they were trying to take a look at. I think we've seen everything, and they have called it a good goal. So from the replay, everything looked very, very, very clear that it was going to be a good goal, and that did not take long to confirm. So.
Yeah, so congratulations to Jared Wilson on that game-tying goal. Wilson is also one of the 20 Division I NCAA men's hockey student athletes that has been named as a candidate for the 2017-2018 Senior Class Award.
And that's an award that once upon a time was won by RPI Brock Higgs. So there is some precedent there.
Yeah, it stands for Celebrating Loyalty and Achievement for Staying in School, the Senior Class Award. So congratulations to Jared Wilson.
So we are back to square one here. It's 1-1, a little over midway through the third period. Now we'll see which of these teams has the gumption to move forward and look for that game-winning goal as the Engineers continue to attack. Now at even strength. Both goals this evening coming in the third period on the power play. Here's Manley, sends it on net, saved by Kaspersky with the shaft of his stick along the ice. Here's Whiffen in the neutral zone, across for Manley as Manley moves backwards and looks to set up. Whiffen flicks into the zone, and he will go off on a change. Tierney's keeps it in. Samick again keeps it in as he sends it deep into the zone. Polino for Tierney's, who changes direction along the near boards. Still with Tierney's. He is trying to get Robbie DeMontis off of him. Skating away. Puck bounces around for a brief moment right in front of the crease. It's picked up and moved out by Yale. And here's TJ Samick along his own bench, trying to move it in. It's held up at the blue line. RPI controlling the puck moderately well here. Grant tries to move it up ice. It bounces over a stick, and Yale's going to be able to collect this one in the defensive zone with about 6 minutes remaining now in the third period. Tied at 1. Wilson in his own end has it picked off by the Bulldogs momentarily, and then try to move up for Orval on the logo, but he can't control that pass. Foley behind his own net, and it's picked up by Evan Smith and sent down ice. Wilson now in his own end. Up to Emil Orval by the red line. His pass to Burgess. Burgess with a big slapper. And that's saved into the corner by Kaspersky. Pinching in is Propovessis to keep it in the zone, but the pass across for Burgess goes nowhere, and it's out to the stick of Wilson in the neutral zone. Wilson sends that one in on goal, and Kaspersky kicks it to the far board. Now to center now is Yale. They will change lines, so they essentially just turn it over to Riley in his own end. Riley powers that one down ice. Now Whiffen behind the Yale cage. Gets taken down by Welsh, who also goes down on that play. Now Liljegren battling with Welsh. Here's Riley at the point. Riley has a shot, goes off the skate of Diorsi, falls behind the net for Whiffen. Whiffen swings it to Liljegren. Liljegren looking to come around towards the net. Will takes a quick snapshot after coming around, but goes just over into the corner. Now that's going to go all the way down ice for icing. So since the goal by Wilson, the Engineers are certainly controlling play.
Yeah, they're skating confidently. They're skating fast, and it's showing as they're getting several chances here on Kaspersky.
Recapping the goals in this one, both these goals coming in the third period on the power play. The first was for Yale at 53 seconds. Ted Hart, his first of the season from Matt Foley and Joe Snively, made it 1-0 Yale. RPI tied it up at 12:31 on the power play. Jared Wilson, his third of the year from Todd Burgess and Tommy Grant. And that's where we stand now. It is 1-1 as RPI wins the faceoff in the attacking zone. Here is Polino in front for Jesper Orval, who takes a shot. That was blocked by Jewell. Now Polino moving through the top of the slot takes a shot. That was blocked down by Will Diorsi, who comes away with it. He tries to just send it down into the zone, but he whiffs and looked a little silly doing it as he lost his balance. He's going to take some serious razzing from the RPI crowd after that one as the puck goes out of play. He just wound up, tried to power it into the zone from the blue line, but not only missed the shot, he also ended up going down to a knee while trying to take that. They're going to show this again on. That would be high on the list of not the top 10 for SportsCenter, I would imagine. Not certainly a highlight of his career.
Offsides called. Tierney's went into the zone before Samick could send the puck in.
So RPI with the momentum, if not the control of the zone after that center ice face-off with 4:05 left in the third period.
One thing to note, the Bulldogs have not taken a shot since their goal. They're stuck at 28 shots right now as the Engineers have controlled play.
Engineers lead 13-5 in shots here in the third period. As RPI continues to push forward, even if they don't have control, they're still doing a great job of forechecking. And Yale just can't seem to move the puck down ice, although they get a fortuitous bounce there as it bounced off.
Krapavessis is looking for an icing call, as he believes it didn't hit any Yale players before going into the offensive zone, but nonetheless, Marshall covering up.
Ended up bouncing off of the back boards and towards Marshall. He ended up covering that one, if only just keep it out of the net. So maybe just a good bounce for Yale there as has the face-off down in the RPI end. Whiffen looked like he had won the face-off for RPI, but I think they're going to throw him out instead. DeMontis had actually just been thrown out prior to the face-off, but it looks like they're going to let Whiffen take this one again. It's Whiffen versus O'Neill. Just to the left of Lyndon Marshall. And Whiffen again wins the face-off. Liljegren's just going to jam that one out of the zone. And now here comes Whiffen. Whiffen brings it in, tries to get himself around Sweez, and he does. Shot saved with a toe by Corbin Kaspersky. Goes into the corner, and now a penalty coming up, a hooking call. And I think this one is going to be on the Bulldogs. And it most certainly is. That is Tyler Welsh. No, I'm sorry. That's Luke Stevens skating off for the Yale Bulldogs. Sophomore forward out of Duxbury, Mass, Carolina Hurricanes property. Will serve a hooking call. And definitely poor timing for Yale as this one comes with 3:31 left in the third period. So RPI gifted now a golden opportunity to go for a game-winning goal late in the third period.
Yes, and they've controlled play without the power play, so it'll be interesting to see them too.
All the momentum seems to be with the Engineers at this moment. They win the face-off back to Prapavessis. Emil Orval looking for Riley. Riley walks in, but it was held up for just a moment by Evan Smith. A good play by the both of the Smith brothers today on the penalty kill. They've both been very active when down a man. And RPI having to move back into their own end, to collect it. Now in the attacking zone, Hayhurst. Hayhurst takes a shot, glove down by Kaspersky. I'm not sure he saw it immediately, but a good reactive save. Engineer still with it. Across for Liljegren, takes a shot and scores! Victor Liljegren putting one back on the power play. And with 2:56 remaining in the third period, RPI has their first lead of the night, their first lead in several weeks.
And I'd like to highlight Jacob Hayhurst, who dove at the blue line to keep that puck in and then getting the assist here on the Liljegren goal. But Jacob Hayhurst just absolutely saved that play, kept that puck in the offensive zone, and allowed the Engineers to get that opportunity.
The story of the second half of this third period has been poorly timed penalties by the Bulldogs and momentum for the Engineers. 2 power play goals for RPI here in the last 10 minutes of regulation has them ahead in this league game. An opportunity for 2 points if they can hold on. But Yale now moving on to the attack. Turned over to Jesper Orval, who's just moving the puck forward. He just sends it in after crossing the red line. He's first one to it. Back for Samick. Samick winds up, and Kaspersky tenders that one away. Yale tries to clear that, put it onto their own bench, so we're going to see the face-off coming up in the Yale zone.
And I think it's a smart move by Coach Smith here to put out the speed line immediately after that goal to just keep that forechecking pressure up, because the Orval-Polino-Tyranese line has no doubt been absolutely relentless on the forecheck tonight.
Victor Liljegren scoring not his 3rd of the year, that's not possible, his 6th of the year.
Yes.
He did have a hat trick earlier this season. So the 6th goal of the season for Victor Liljegren from Emil Orval and Mike Prapavessis at 17:04 has the Engineers ahead 2-1 on the power play. They are looking to close this one out with a victory. Yale pushing forward. Hitchcock in the attacking zone. Behind the net, Snively has it taken off of his stick by Whiffen. Good defensive play there by the junior from St. Mary's, Ontario. Out of the zone. Now back for Wilson in his own end. He tries to clear it. Ted Hart knocks it down, but Prapavesis is there to clear the zone. Ryan Hitchcock with 1:57 remaining, keeping an eye on Corbin Kaspersky. Yale trying to gain the zone. Swept away. Now on net save by Marshall. It ends up back over with Yale. Another shot from the top of the face-off circle. That was Anthony Walsh. That didn't get all the way through. Now Whiffen trying to move it out. Kept into the zone by Walsh momentarily, but poked away by York. Now RPI 2-on-1. York had Liljegren with him, but a good defensive play by Matt Foley puts that one over by the Zamboni doors. 1:24 left now as Yale looks to break out. Kaspersky is coming off. Yale looking for the extra skater. Shot goes behind the net. 6-on-5 now for the Bulldogs. Shot into the slot. That's blocked in front. That was Dante Paleko with that opportunity. Puck goes down ice. It's not going to get near the goal. It's picked up by the Bulldogs. Foley leaves it behind his net. Adam Larkin.
Less than a minute of play here in the third period.
Larkin moves it ahead. Taken off the stick of DeMontis. Now behind the RPI cage. Yale comes away with it. DeMontis looks up and finds, I think that was Paleko in the slot. And Marshall covers it up, and there's some fisticuffs behind
Tierney's letting no one near Lyndon Marshall after he covered that puck up, allowing for no opportunity for there to be a rebound.
39.9 seconds left in this one. RPI clinging to a 2-1 lead. Yale with the extra attacker looking for the game-tying goal.
And one thing I'd like to note is that before the attacker came out and the Bulldogs were pushing, Ted Hart was right in front of the crease and Jared Wilson just shoved him off, not letting the Bulldog goal scorer from earlier get another one of those plays.
Ted Hart in the last minute or so has looked very dangerous. He was the goal scorer for Yale on the power play earlier in this one as the Bulldogs call timeout with the faceoff coming up in the RPI end. 39.9 seconds left, and now we've got a penalty. We've got a couple penalties.
Yeah, we have a couple penalties here.
Yep. We've got Evan Tierney and Robbie DeMontis.
So matching
who are in the
liners.
box. I would say on the whole that probably is a small boost for Yale.
A little more ice.
A little bit. Tierney's probably one of RPI's better players in the face-off circle, if nothing else. With these roughing penalties being more or less matching minors, I'm going to have to guess we're probably still playing 6-on-5 when we come back from this timeout. Although, well, I only see 4. There's only 5 players out there for Yale. Maybe they're calling this. Yep, there's only 4 for the Engineers, so 5-on-4 for the last 40 seconds of this one.
The Engineers are going to go with Whiffen, York, Grant, and Prapavesis.
And I think that makes this a definite advantage for Yale because 6-on-5, it kind of gums up the work a lot. 5-on-4 is something you know. That's a power play.
Yes.
So that this arrangement will help Yale a little bit here as they win the faceoff. Foley takes a shot, saved by Marshall. Back out to Foley again. He helped make that first goal happen. Now down low, another shot. That is still fighting for it. Where's the puck? And it's under Lyndon Marshall, and a swipe taken by Anthony Walsh. Some more pushing and shoving. Troy York is down there. 26.3 seconds remaining in this one. Face-off coming up in the RPI end.
You can see Marshall has his eyes on the puck the whole time when it's being swatted at, and just covers it up with the glove.
A lot of bodies down in front, and when you're trying to get that game winner or the game tying goal, you don't care how it comes, and that was some good moves by Yale.
Heads up play there by the freshman netminder.
Key face-off, won by Yale. Shot is blocked in front. That shot was by Walsh. Engineers blocked that one and sent it back out to center. 17 seconds left. Yale's got to hurry. Walsh has it fall, or Foley has it fall off of his stick. Moving forward for Snively along the far boards. Back to Snively. Snively takes a quick shot, squirts through the crease and into the corner. 4 seconds left. Yale trying to pull this one out. And RPI is going to come away with it. Comes down to the point, and that is it. No more time. RPI picks up a key ECAC victory at home. 2-1 over the Yale Bulldogs.
And so the Bulldogs skid continues as they lose. They're now on a 5-game losing streak, and the Engineers come out with a win to improve to 2-4-1 in ECAC play and 3-9-3 overall.
It's been a difficult road for RPI so far this season. The last couple of weeks, they've certainly taken on some teams that look to be head and shoulders better than they were. So even if they did have good games, which they had some good games.
Yes.
The second game against Notre Dame, they took that scoreless into overtime. They played very, very well out in Belfast against a very, very good Clarkson team that has the best defense in the country.
Yes.
And they battled here tonight.
Clarkson now ranked third in the country.
Clarkson,
very
you
impressive.
have to tip your hat to what they've been able to do, but the kind of game that RPI played in that one made you believe that coming back home and playing a team that was reeling like Yale, they might be able to pick something out of it, and they certainly ended up doing it. And they had to battle adversity in order to do it. They ended up needing to come from behind in the third period. They got 2 very crucial power play goals, and really all you can say is that they didn't give up in the third period.
Yeah, so they'll now salute the student section here with a stick tap. And the students love it. So the goals coming from Victor Liljegren on the power play and Jared Wilson with a slap shot on the power play to tie it up. All goals coming in the third period, actually, and all power play goals from both sides. So, congratulations. I'll now name my offensive.
We're going to do that in just a second.
Okay.
Let's run down some of the scoring from elsewhere, and we'll run down all of the official scoring in this one, and then Joe is going to name his offensive and defensive engineers of this one. Final score in Princeton, New Jersey. It was a complete blowout as the Princeton Tigers destroyed Dartmouth 9-2. Max Verano with a hat trick in that one for the Tigers. Harvard late in the third period has a 4-2 lead over Quinnipiac. Union defeated Brown 3-2, and at the start of the third period, Miami has a 2-1 lead over Cornell. Here in this one, no scoring in the first 2 periods. Ted Hart broke this one open in the early part of the third period with a power play goal 53 seconds in to make it 1-0. Hart's first goal of the season was from Matt Foley and Joe Snively. The Engineers would score the next 2 in order to pull away with the victory. Jared Wilson with his 3rd goal of the season from Todd Burgess and Tommy Grant at 12:31 made it 1-1 on the power play. And in the game-winning goal, Victor Liljegren with his 6th goal of the season from Emil Orval and Mike Prapavesis made it 2-1 on the power play. That was the final score in this one. Shooting leaders, Jacob Hayhurst had 5 shots on goal. Brady Whiffen also had 5 shots on goal. Ryan Hitchcock was able to add 4 for the Bulldogs. And Latham's Kevin O'Neill added 3 as well. Taking the loss in net is Corbin Kaspersky. The hard luck loser had 34 saves on 36 shots. He is now 0-1 on the season. And then Marshall picking up the win in net for RPI. He made 32 saves on 33 shots. His overall record now on the season improves to 2-4-1. Power plays in this one. Yale was 1 for 4 on the man advantage. RPI 2 for 4 on the power play. The Engineers ended up leading this one in shots 36-33, thanks in large part to a 16-10 edge in shots in the third period that was a lot more lopsided before Yale's final push for a game-tying goal that did not ultimately come for them. So the Engineers victorious this evening in league play. They pick up a desperately needed 2 points to move up the ECAC board slightly.
Yes, so offensive engineer of the game goes to Jacob Hayhurst, as you mentioned, got five shots on net, and also just was all over the ice, especially after the Bulldog goal. He took one of the most impressive plays I saw from him was he took the puck right off the faceoff and just pushed his way into the offensive zone, and just it kind of set the tone for the Engineers that this is what we're going to do. for the rest of the game. We're going to push as much as we can and get the puck on that. And then another play, again, that I talked about earlier, where he dove across the blue line to just keep the puck in net on the power play, and it led to the Liljegren goal. So Jacob Hayhurst getting the offensive engineer of the game. And then defensive engineer of the game, nobody else that I could give it to except freshman goaltender Lyndon Marshall, who's put in the work all year. Like I said, the weight coach up at ECAP, I've talked to him, and he said Lyndon came in this summer with just a mindset that he wanted to be as best as he could be. He wanted to come over to college hockey and make the transfer as quick as he could from juniors to becoming one of the best goaltenders. And he did it tonight with 32 saves on 33 shots. It was very impressive.
And he's starting to make it look a little easier too, which is he's not looking like a freshman in net. And for RPI, that's exactly what you want to see from your goaltenders is that they look like they're playing above where we would expect them to be.
And even on that last flourish by the Bulldogs, where there was a rebound and there were a bunch of sticks flying around, you could watch from the overhead on the replay and see that Marshall could see exactly where the puck is, and he just needed to reach out and grasp it. But he knew exactly what was happening, and that's what you like to see.
So Jacob Hayhurst and Lyndon Marshall, your offensive and defensive engineers of the game. Before we depart this evening, we'd like to remind you that our next WRPI Sports broadcast will emanate from the friendly confines at Houston Fieldhouse tomorrow night as the RPI Engineers welcome in the Brown Bears in ECAC hockey play. Tomorrow night, puck drop is at 7 p.m., so our on-air time with Joe and I will be at 6:45 tomorrow evening. We'd also like to thank DJ Scooter back at the station for helping us get out onto the air and keeping us there. The Sounds of Now will continue right after this broadcast has completed, so be sure to stay tuned in for that. We would also like to thank Perry Lascaris for keeping us plied with stats while we were in the booth this evening. We'd also like to thank the Rensselaer Union because they provide the funding for WRPI and all of the club-related activity of the Institute, including WRPI's coverage of RPI hockey, football, and baseball. Just a reminder, WRPI is on the World Wide Web. Point your browser to WRPI.org and pick up WRPI's broadcast 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as long as WRPI is broadcasting. We will provide that broadcast on our internet feed. Once again, that is WRPI.org. We'd also like to say hello and thank you to all of those of you watching this broadcast on RPI TV. We hope that you enjoy their outstanding work on these home broadcasts. So, for Joe Piscano, my name is Tom Reel. Your final score from Houston Fieldhouse, RPI with the victory, 2-1 over the Yale Bulldogs. You've been listening to live coverage of Engineers Hockey on 91.5 FM, WRPI Troy.